What's up guys, it's Austin, and today I'm going to be filming with the only car I can think of that's worse than my Yugo. So this is Robert. He owns the Trabant, and the big question everybody's wondering is why?
Well, I just wanted one. There's really not much more to it. Occasionally I'll look around at cars, and I don't really browse Craigslist for random things. I kind of have specific interests in mind. If I want something, I will search for it. And I just kind of saw the Trabant online somewhere. I don't remember where it was. I'd heard about it previously, but there was some article that was written. I looked at the car and I thought, I could get one of those. And I just kind of narrowed down my hunt to this car.
And then you did.
And then I did.
Now that you have one, what have you learned about them that you didn't know? Like, what are some realizations you have about it? You know, because I know you don't daily it, but driving it around, what are some things you've learned?
Well, it would have been much better than walking, and that's about the nicest thing I can say to it. When they designed it in 1963, it was, you know, it was a good car because it beats walking. But then, you know, communism and whatnot took over, and you ended up with the same design for 30 years, from 63 to 89.
So what year is this one?
81.
81. And now give us a little information about it. So it was made in East Germany.
Yes, made in East Germany in Zwickau.
So it was made by communists.
And we don't know the political persuasions of the factory workers, but yes, it was made in a communist state.
For people that lived in a communist state.
Absolutely.
And
they did export it somewhat. This is an export car. It went to Hungary.
This went to Hungary. All right, so what kind of engine does it have?
It is a 600cc, two-stroke, two-cylinder, air-cooled. What else did I leave out? Engine. 26 horsepower.
26 horsepower.
Yeah, and 4-speed manual.
I've ridden with you in it, and I've noticed something different about the shifter.
Mm-hmm.
Is it reversed rather, you know, in comparison to a regular, you know, like a 3 on the tree or something?
Well, if you're not used to column-mounted shifters, it's going to be strange because the column-mounted manual. It's a little bit different than most older American cars, like say Bel Air or something, had a 3 on the tree. This is a 4-speed. But what's different between this and a regular column-mounted shifter is the patterns are reversed.
It starts on the bottom. First is on bottom.
First is bottom
second.
and forward, and second, and then back and down is third and fourth, and then reverse is all the way forward and down.
So now I'm going to go around the car and I'm going to find some oddities that you wouldn't find on modern cars or even necessarily cars of the same era. So let's go. So we're going to start with the exterior, and by the exterior I mean every body panel on it. Every body panel was made with recycled cotton, and the resin that they used actually made it extremely cancerous when it burned. So I guess you shouldn't burn it. So the next thing I'm going to look at are the wheels. When you look at the wheels, the front don't look bad at all. There's nothing odd with them. But when you move on to the back, there's something very strange, and that's they have an extreme amount of positive camber built in. Like, it came from the factory like this. You can't really tell when looking at it from the side, but if you look at it from the back, you can see they're tilted inwards like crazy. And the reason for that is it has a single wishbone suspension. When you put weight into it, you know, when you get more people than you should probably put in the car, it kind of equals out. So one small detail that most people won't notice when looking at this, but the owner does, is it has exposed screws holding the body panels together, and it came from the factory like this. You can see 2 exposed flatheads right there. And the screws on the top, the only effort they made to hide them are that they're under this rubber strip inside of this little thing right here. Moving on to the engine bay, the only way you can check your gas is with a stick. Now, this is fairly common with air-cooled vehicles, but for anybody that doesn't have an air-cooled vehicle, the engine is under a blanket. It's like this leather and like just insulated blanket, and it's just for insulation, but it's odd for anybody that's never had an air-cooled car like me. So the heater in this car works a bit different than regular cars. So what it does, it brings air in and it puts it over the exhaust. It has a shroud on the exhaust. It blows air over it, heats it, and then puts it into the car. And I mean, I guess it's not that different. It just goes through a heater coil in the...
It doesn't have a fan either. It uses the engine cooling fan, belt-driven engine cooling fan to force air past it, and it has a little auxiliary port down here for the, because the the what's it called, manifold, has a little shroud around it as well to blow heat around the manifold and then down around the front silencer. And then it comes up here through this. I guess you could call it an expansion chamber too. The front muffler assembly has a shroud around it, blows air into there while using the engine fan.
Tell us what the Gatorade bottle's for.
This is a shoddy fix because the washer bottle cap is missing. Also, the washer bottle's cracked. Oh, there we go. Cap is missing, and it's very hard to find that cap, as I found out. So the previous owner actually did is just cut a Gatorade bottle on top for the windshield washer fluid.
All right, on to the interior. So we're going to start with the windshield wiper fluid, and most cars have windshield wiper fluid, but most of them aren't manual. You have to manually pull this out, push it in, just to pump windshield washer fluid onto the windshield. So one thing all two-stroke owners have to carry around is spark plugs, and that's because all two-stroke engines foul out spark plugs regularly. I've never heard a horn match a car's appearance so well. So that's a general overview of a Trabant, and it may be worse than my Yugo, but it may not be. It depends on where you're looking. I mean, they are only 5 years apart, although this looks like it was made in the 60s. But as always, if you like the video, please consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.